Hello, I'm here to dedicate another video to this mustache model, but today we're going to be diving into the darkest depths of his career. Mario games are known as being made simplistic for their younger audiences, but for those who choose to achieve everything that the games have to offer, another challenge awaits. Today, we're going to look at the most horrifyingly devious levels in Mario's catalogue, and decide which one's the most brutal, the most soul-crushing. And to do that, we first need to unlock the levels. But before that, I want to give a nominee mention to this level in Super Mario Sunshine. Showing me this first thing in the morning is the type of thing that makes me just not want to get out of bed. Anyway, the three hardest levels are the Perfect Run from Super Mario Galaxy 2, Champion's Road from Super Mario 3D World, and the Darker Side of the Moon from Super Mario Odyssey. These three levels are the true tests of any Mario game, well, except and I didn't grow up with these original games, but otherwise I'd mention pretty much every level in some of these games. But no. Today I'm talking about these three, because they are part of the modern trend of collecting pretty much everything to reach them. But before we start deciding, we need to look at the levels on their own. First off is the Perfect Run. There are 6 main sections to this level, which are split up by these launch stars. The first is a section where you need to ride Yoshi and hook onto these swings and squeeze past some bomb enemies and avoid bullet bills. This section may look really challenging on the surface, but the more you do it, the more it becomes just a simple rhythm game, and timing when to hook onto the next swing. Then once you get through that, you're onto the easiest section, the switch section. You have to press down all of the switches by turning them yellow without pressing the same one twice until they turn all green. Really not too bad unless you make a bad jump. Then you're onto the third section, which is also not too bad. Except you're forced to ditch Yoshi. In this section you've got to make the cloud platforms by spinning the remote to avoid these electric bars, and that's pretty much it. Again, really not too bad. Then the fourth section's up. This section involves jumping on these switching platforms, which change when Mario spins, while avoiding these laser ring thingies and sometimes random octopus fellas. This section, if you keep some of the previous sections clouds, can be pretty okay unless you get impatient. Fifth section. The lasers need to be jumped over until you reach this section with the blue stars, which you can hold on to and go from star to star. Again, avoiding lasers. You do this until, wham, you're at the next section, the Hammer Bro and Boomerang Bro section. You just have to jump, but avoid dying until you reach the final bit where you need to quickly kill the Boomerang Bros before they kill you. And that's it. This level is really not bad, so why is it on this list? That really is the main reason it's so hard. The level design isn't necessarily super interesting, it just mainly involves avoiding lasers, which can sometimes cause you death. The music at least is banging. The next level is Champion's Road. The beginning of the stage has you jumping over gaps and avoiding optumbas until you reach a pipe, where you need to then avoid fire bros. You'll notice this level is laid out differently, where multiple challenges appear back to back without a launch star separating them. Then you've got to avoid the charging chucks while running over gaps, and that's the end of the first section. Yeah, this one is pretty long. Then the next section has these switching tiles, and you've got to make some absolutely disgusting jumps in a small amount of time. This section feeds into a fight with 3 chemics over some disappearing blocks, and that's the end of that bit. Then the next part has these spiked bars which swing and fuzzies which can be eaten by the grabbable piranha plant. Also, quick side note, how hard is it to say grabbable piranha plant? Like, try and say that 3 times, it's just not possible. This part isn't too hard, but it can be easy to get damaged because of all the different moving obstacles. Then the next section needs you to jump on the sides of these bouncy ant dudes, and then bouncing on some sleeping piranha plants, and then sweeping and avoiding spikes. This section is actually pretty difficult, but the more you do it, the easier it gets to time the jumps. Then finally, let's dash along some dash panels and avoiding these lasers while trying to collect key coins, and come on, look how many lasers there are! But thankfully, getting to the box takes you to the end of the level. This level is brutal because of how much there is needed to do, but you can at least get hit in this level, which makes it a bit less painful, but that doesn't really help all too much. And then our third and final level, the Darker Side of the Moon. This This level is slightly different compared to the other two because it's ridiculously hard but actually quite forgiving. The opening section has something unique compared to the other two levels, where there's an optional boss which if beaten gives the player an extra 3 hits. But you can just skip this, so let's move on to the real beginning. The first bit has these poles over lava which sink, so you've got to quickly climb them and get to the next one before you die. Then after a couple of these, there are these poles which you've got to swing on, which also sink in the lava every couple seconds. Then there are some platforms which you've got to jump over lava while they're moving, which isn't too bad, and then you've got to transform into one of these lava bubbles and jump through pockets of lava to reach a cannon. Once fired through this cannon, we reach the next section. This part has you capturing an uproot and getting through these platforms, which to be honest really isn't at all the challenge and I don't even know why it's here. And then after that you've got to swim in ice cold water and avoid these fuzzies. And then the coolest part of the entire level comes up, where you've got to play as Yoshi and have to hold onto these vertical conveyor belts and swing from either side to avoid further fuzzies. Then after that you've got to jump over some blocks with laser thingies, which leads to the heart and the Sphinx, which also gives you additional 3 points. Okay, this is probably getting really dull, so let's speed up. Next section, blocks, ooh spooky, don't die, and then Glydon, woo! And then pipe, scary lasers, fog, whap, shh, bird wall thingy. And then finally, Bowser section. Okay, phew. We finally finished that section, which even typing made me want to fall asleep, so I'm very sorry about that. So now that the levels have been established, the next thing to do is to judge how difficult it is to unlock them. For Mario Galaxy 2 you need to beat the main game and then collect a further 120 green stars. Okay, seriously? This is so monotonous to do by the end of the end levels. And on top of that, sometimes it takes so long to find the stars, so it's just a method to extend the length of the game. For 3D World it's not too bad. You just need to collect all of the stamps, green stars which are just like the star coins in the new Super Mario Bros. Games, and then the top of every flag. You can beat all of these levels once and still unlock the final level, which is really nice. And then in Mario Odyssey, you need 500 Power Moons and beat Bowser, which is really not bad either, especially as you can buy them, which is really dumb but at least means their level's accessible. The hardest level to unlock is definitely the Perfect Run, just because of how mentally exhausting it can be. So with the Perfect Run in the lead, the next thing to evaluate is how fair the level is in respect to the difficulty. The Perfect Run is straight up unfair. You get 1 hit point, no checkpoints, 1 mistake, it's over. The level is short, so I guess without this it would be way too easy. Champions Road allows you to enter the level with a power-up and a reserve power-up, so it's completely fair, giving you around 5 hits or so max. But it doesn't give you any more health, unlike Odyssey, which provides way too many health items, making the levels so much easier. But this level is about 3 times as long, so it's valid in my opinion. The level which is the most unfair is the Perfect Run again. The Perfect Run has 2 wins under its belt now, but that doesn't mean the others can't win. Except the Darker Side, that definitely isn't the hardest. Put it in 3rd place. Anyway, which level design is the most challenging? The Perfect Run isn't winning this one. Pretty much all of the sections can be beaten quite easily and usually die over a common mistake. But realistically, it isn't that much different from a normal level, with the inclusion of spikes. Skipping 3D World here, Odyssey's level takes parts from all throughout the game, and so is the hardest version of each obstacle, which is very clever. However, the game is quite open, and so the way you can beat these levels can be done in multiple ways as well. Or entirely skipping sections due to the open design. So Odyssey isn't winning either. 3D World's level, however, has the brutal length, tight platforming with again disgusting timings necessary to beat sections. It's the most difficult level design-wise because it's nothing like the main game. Every jump can lead to your death, with jumping on enemies to traverse walls being the only save points. So, which level is the hardest? I'd have to give it to 1-1. This single Goomba just traumatized me for years. Okay, but seriously, it would have to be Champions Road. What? How's that fair? I only won one of the rounds. Even though you can play as Peach and Glide the entire time, to truly beat the level, you need to beat it 5 times. That makes it significantly more challenging. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. This will be my last upload until the end of June as I have my A-levels coming up. So, thank you for watching, it means a lot.